Hey brothers and sisters, Paul here again, and as usual my mate Darawong's looking over us, keeping an eye on what we're talking about. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about the matrix, so to speak, or this system that we're in, whatever it is, whatever you think it is. First of all, I'd like to, as you see here now, there's a picture up defining the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I just wanted to clarify from last time. So the divine masculine is logic, reason, action, firm, survival, loyal, adventurous, rational, strength. Divine feminine, intuition, nurturing, healing, gentle, expressive, wise, patient, emotional, and flexible. So, part of the spiritual goal in this war is to bring those two together so that there is balance. And again, walking the middle path allows you to achieve balance a lot easier, because if you're on an extreme, you are not in balance. You are one way or the other. And the law of rhythm says as far as the pendulum can swing one way with happiness, it will swing the other with sadness or whatever. So, we've all heard of the other spiritual law, or Hermetic law, that this picture shows, as above, so below. It'll become relevant later. But I just wanted to remind everyone of that spiritual law. And again, you see everything's in black and white at the moment. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about yin and yang. Now, as you can see, this is like the one I held up with the divine feminine rising. Okay? Now, with yin and yang, masculine and feminine has many, many more definitions. Many. Okay, so masculine is hot, fire. Feminine is cold. So that's just an example of how much different the yin and yang symbol is. There's much more to it than that too. Another one is push and pull. Masculine, if you watch when they do Tai Chi, for example, I like my Tai Chi, an outward strike or a push is actually masculine energy, yang. And the inward movement, which is a pull, would be a yin energy, which is feminine. Keep that in mind. Push and pull is actually yin and yang as well. What we're going to talk about today, though, is this picture. Basically, it's a tornado. Now, I honestly don't know if this kind of thinking has a name. It's just something that I've sort of has been bubbling away for me. I call the spiral of experience. So let me explain. As you can see, the tornado way down the bottom, it's really small. So that's basically you as a baby. And because all you did was basically, as long as you had something to eat, your nappy was changed regularly, you got a hug, Bob's your uncle, you're pretty happy. Then you start to, for example, walk, or you crawl first, and you start to get into a bit of trouble. You might, grab something sharp and you learn. And then you start to walk and you fall over a few times until you start to walk without falling over. And as you progress through the problems, you expand your comfort zone. And as such, that tornado or the spiral of experience gets bigger as your comfort zone gets bigger. Now then, until we learn what we need to learn from our experiences, we are destined to repeat them. What we resist persists. This is also true, again, as above, so below. If it's true for me, it's true for society. And a really good example right now is the Ukraine war. Oh, we're going to have a nuclear war. Is this a repeat of what was basically the Cuban Missile Crisis? It's been called by that by many people, where we'll go to the brink and then they'll back off. Maybe they won't, I don't know. But what the point is we're repeating. It may be slightly different in the way it's presented, but the problem is basically the same. Okay? Now, some people would even suggest that today's society, the way it's going morally, with all that left stuff going on, is this Sodom and Gomorrah playing out again? And I can honestly say, hey, you've got a point there. I can see why you would think that. Don't necessarily agree or disagree, but I can see the point being made. Another example is, I believe Atlantis existed. In fact, I think it's probably the Eye of Africa. If you look that up, go for it. And Atlantis, I've read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and Atlantis was deliberately sunk because some people at the time were opening dark portals, and that's where actually this dark shit show began. It's way back then. And I personally believe it's anywhere from 250 to 400,000 years ago, not 20 or 30,000 years ago like some historians suggest. So, if they're opening gates and dark portals then, what do you think a lot of people have been saying about the CERN Hadron Collider? Which is the world's biggest experiment, basically, a laboratory experiment. And that's near Geneva in Switzerland and goes across the French-Swiss border. Some people are also concerned that is also opening up dark portals. Again, we repeat things until we are grown up or experienced enough or wise enough to move on from them. Remember in one of the earlier videos I suggested this is an initiation. And if we can't get our shit together and see each other as one humanity, all brothers and sisters, well then we might fail this initiation and end up back into this matrix system. If we pass this initiation, I'm not going to say what's going to happen because I don't know. But we move on, we get a bigger spiral, our comfort zone. I personally think there's probably going to be more intergalactic recognition. However you interpret that, your business. So, the spiral of experience for yourself, it applies for you too. You will probably have, the simplest way to explain this one, people have the same relationships. They'll get out of one relationship and go straight into the next one that is identical, just with different people. And then when that runs its course, they'll probably get pissed off and not like them, and then they'll get out of that relationship, and soon they'll be in the same relationship with a different person. Again, spiral of experience, and until we learn what we need to learn, we won't move on and create a bigger spiral, which is bigger comfort zone. And again, I believe that all this is an initiation for us, a young species, to step up. But the key here is walking the middle path and starting to respect everyone and their free will choices. Liking their free will choices has nothing to do with it, but if they're not committing a crime, causing harm, damage or loss to another person, is it just a first world problem that you got with them? If you want your right to express yourself as you see fit, then they have that right too, and it's your duty to give what you expect for yourself. So that's sort of an interesting concept. And if you want to see actually in a film this whole spiral of experience, Matrix 4, I would urge you to watch it. And in that Matrix 4, you see a repeat of a scene I think was in Matrix 2, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. But there's a scene in Matrix 2 where you're on the ground and the camera's looking up. There's a helicopter above, and there's got one of those Gatling gun type things shooting into the building. And all you can see is all the empty shell casings coming down. Literally raining. That exact same scene, looking up at the helicopter and all the shell casings coming down, plays out in Matrix 4. However, what's going on up there in the building in Matrix 4 is different to Matrix 2. And what it's actually saying is quite literally the spiral of experience. Things will come back and play out, and they are basically different versions of exactly the same thing. Ukraine war and the Cuban Missile Crisis. And until we learn the lessons we need to learn, which is basically stop fucking hating each other. Pistol fingers is a good example, how you can do that on a small scale. Put them away. Stop hating each other. I think over the last 120 odd years, 130 years, we've had enough war, don't you reckon? Because like you can go back to the Boer War, the Crimean War. You know, it wasn't just 100 years of wars, it was 140 years. We're still doing it. Don't know about you, but I've had a gutful of that shit. And I don't want my kids or grandkids going off to war to fight for political gain when we are all the same species. Yeah, so you are welcome to your views. I don't have a problem with what you say God is, how you want to live. Again, that is me respecting your free will choices. So, a little bit deeper this time, guys, with a bit of a matrix conversation and what's playing out here in real time with the Ukraine war, with other things. Like you'll start to see patterns. And as you see patterns, you'll start to see the matrix in action. The human brain or the human mind is actually geared towards pattern recognition first. And it's been that way since we set up stones in the fields so that we could align with stars, because we started to see patterns in the stars, and then we wanted to be able to mark that so we knew where we were and when to start planting, when to harvest, you know, when the sun's coming back and all that sort of thing. So that was a bit deeper, like I said, but also very relevant to the whole spiritual war. And remember, it's all about walking the middle path, balance and respect of others. And if everyone gives respect, everyone receives. When everyone gives, everyone receives. When everyone takes, many miss out. And then we start getting nasty with each other. I'd rather see everyone gives, everyone receives. Anyway, people, from the big guy up here, Derewon, and from myself, have a great day. And yeah, we'll look at doing a couple more of these later. Ciao for now.